The Desert Eagle has always been one of my favorite all-time handguns. Due to its appearances in many movies and from many games, such as Call of Duty, it has been able to generate a massive amount of hype amongst those who are both gamers and gun enthusiasts. I mean, what's not to love about a 50 caliber handgun, right? Well, have airsoft manufacturers been able to capture the glory of the Desert Eagle very well? In past years, no. I don't think they have. Tokyo Marui had an excellent performance, but slides would always crack after usage with green gas. HFC and KWC have never really been able to deliver one that is both reliable and high performing. But what about this WeTech one? Can WeTech deliver, or is it just another big gimmick? Let's find out together. So when you first get a hold of this big old gun, it's going to come in a bright yellow box like this. That's going to be begging you to open it. So you're going to. On top of your Desert Eagle, you're going to find this manual, which is actually not half bad. It contains some pretty decent illustrations inside on how to use it, load it, and the controls of it, right? It's not so bad. And quite frankly, it's written in clean and clear English, which is really nice. So if you don't really know what you're doing in terms of operating a Desert Eagle or a gas blowback in general, refer to this manual and it'll help you out. But let's put that aside, because what we really care about is this. You dump it in your hand and boom, there she is. This thing feels awesome. And right away, when you rack back the slide and then you feel the release of it, you can tell it means business, baby. And the thing that I love about it right away that I noticed is that it is extremely smooth, yet crisp and snappy. It doesn't hold back from launching the slide back forward, but yet at the same time, it doesn't feel gritty. It feels buttery smooth, which I love it. And the metal finish looks really good on this gun too. I think that all around it feels incredibly solid, and it actually lived up to my expectations. I would actually say it exceeded my expectations. Usually WeTechs don't have the greatest of externals. I mean, this definitely feels like WeTech. It's very plasticky and cheap feeling, but the rest of it feels pretty great. So what about the rest of the controls? Well, the selector switch slash safety switch, I would say, it's pretty crisp. It's nothing crazy. It's just your standard Desert Eagle switch. If it gets loose, you could probably just tighten this screw right here and it'll be just fine. From there, the trigger. Oh yeah, the safety actually works. The trigger, it's got a clean break, feels good. Hammer cocks back nicely. The slide release slash catch feels good. Make sure you clear your fingers, unlike I just almost did not, or pretty much did not. And then the slide release lever slash button feels just fine as well. It's very crisp. Works as intended, right? The rails are also a part of the mold on the frame and on the barrel, so they're not just screwed on. Other than that, it's a pretty basic Desert Eagle for the most part, or L6 if you will, because technically that's what this is the L6. But for all intents and purposes, it's basically just a Desert Eagle with rails on the top and bottom frame, and then this nifty little built-in compensator, which in real life would do something, but for airsoft, it just looks cool. I don't think there's anything else that's really different about it, and I heard that this is technically not an L6 because it doesn't feature the proper L6 grip where it has the finger imprints, so whatever. It's basically just a Desert Eagle lower with a Picatinny rail and then the L6 barrel, and that's about it. They probably did it like that just to keep things cheap, which I can appreciate. So let's throw in the magazine. How does it look with that and feel with that? Well, definitely increases the weight. And another thing I really enjoy about this gun is the magazine release is nice and stiff. So that means that you, unlike other Desert Eagles that I've owned where it's like you tap on this or breathe on it and it just plops out the magazine. This one, you actually have to use a little bit of force and it'll come out. And it comes out nicely. And then when slamming it in, it'll have a bit of resistance right here. But if you it just goes right in like butter. And of course, it locks back the slide without me having to interact with the slide catch slash release lever. And it's pretty solid with it, right? It's an awesome gun so far. Honestly, in terms of the externals, I really cannot knock this gun. Beautiful, nice little Magnum Research Inc. trades on this side as well. 50 AE. Looks really good. I really like this gun in terms of the way it looks and feels. I mean, seriously, this thing is just crisp. I love it so much in that regards. Also, one other thing that you get included is this old-fashioned speed loader. Now, of course, one thing that you got to do with it, like right away, green gas, green gas, green gas, green gas, green gas, green gas, go, 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 go. Okay, it's got some gas. We gotta see, how does it shoot? How does it shoot? Ooh. Let's see, hold it. Oh, it's gonna go bloop. All right, so that wasn't much of a gas charge, but right away you'll notice it is a gas hog. Now, let's cut over to some shooting footage, which I'm gonna warn you ahead of time, it's not my best. Unfortunately, I had to use this phone instead of using my high quality camera that I planned on doing due to some unfortunate circumstances. Again, I can't really film in an apartment, considering if I shot out, we'll pan over that window, I would kind of be doing bad things, and someone would probably want to call the cops on me for shooting out that window into the street. So don't be that guy, because I'm not going to be. And unfortunately, I have to shoot stuff at my parents' house, which sucks. So hopefully that'll change later this year by me getting a house later. So we'll cut to that. Okay, so I'm outside and I have the Desert Eagle, or aka the L6. I'm gonna take some shots through the chrono. I'm gonna take like 10 to 12, and then I'm gonna just try to get some footage of it shooting at a big tree out there for you guys. Mag is fully gassed, but it is really cold. So hopefully we can get some decent results still. And these are G&G .30s. As you can see with each shot, it's just plummeting. Okay, so we started off around 310, which translates to roughly like 390 with a 2.0, and now we're down to 287, which is going to translate roughly to like 350 with a 2.0. So it's dropping substantially, but I'd say it's doing pretty okay given the circumstances. The fact that it's like, I think 15 to 20 degrees out. So let me see if I can get us focused in on that tree. Zoom in a little bit. Oh yeah, it should be okay. So I have the hop up set, so there's a little bit of an up curve, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, too much up curve. As the FPS is lowering, the hop up gets stronger. Oh, I don't know if she can make it, guys. She isn't gonna make it. Bollocks. Okay, so we still have BBs in the magazine. That sucks. I don't know how many, but it looks like there's multiple. It was too cold for it to do it. It just doesn't hold enough gas in this cold weather. So unfortunately, if you try to use this in conditions like you see outside right now, you're not going to fare too well. When it's warmer out, I can revisit the gas magazine, but I have an HPA tap drum magazine. So alright, so I really don't feel like that tree shooting segment did this thing justice. I have turned the hop up down a little bit more, and I also have my HPA tap drum mag with some G&G 3.0s in it. This should be a lot better. I'm just going to kind of shoot, you know, like a foot or two up from the base. BBs will fly over the camera, just try to look for them. They're kind of like a bluish grayish color. So here we go. Alright, so the gun's okay. It does, I think, need a bucking upgrade, and it also does not help that it is, like I said, like probably 15 to 20 degrees. Maybe it's a little more than that. I don't really know. It's freezing. This thing is not up to optimal performance. This is at a little over 100 PSI, by the way. I can zoom out and we'll pan over to the chrono real quick. All right, we'll see what it's shooting real quick, but just to show, here it is, and I want to just see if it's shooting low or high. So it's in like the 305 to 308 range. That's not bad. It should probably be cranked up a little bit more. to get a little bit more pressure and to shoot a little better. So it's doing okay in consistency. I just think it needs a better bucking, and I just think that this freezing cold weather is not doing this thing any justice. It's not going to do any gun any justice. This is why I want to move and why I'm not giving you guys gameplay footage. So there it is. There's the shooting test. All right, so let's break down what we saw. So it had some pretty good power, which could be a pro or a con, kind of a double-edged sword thing. If you're going to use it in CQB, that could be a con because most CQB places have a 350 FPS limit, and this will exceed that. I mean, the Joule equivalence of it was over that with the .30 gram BBs. So unfortunately, it might not work out for you there. But if you're going to use this in outdoors where you have a 400 FPS limit or higher, then you're good to go. In fact, I actually really enjoy the level of power that this thing provides. And the other thing I wanted to show is this crazy concoction of a drum mag I built. So what I did is I basically just bolted on a VZ61 drum mag to the Desert Eagle mag with an HPA tap. And I just used screws here and then one there, and I think I'm going to add a third one if I can somewheres, but yeah, it's pretty solid. The body, the base of the drum mag is a Well VZ61 mag, and wow, as it would not surprise you, it's a piece of shit. I'm going to be switching it out with a TM one. I already have it, and the reason being is because it caused a problem. So before we talk about the gun a little bit more, I want to also share with you some very bad news that I have. So notice how the BB is like that, right? Where it's not fully like up, you know, to the top here. So there's a problem with that. When it's sitting just beneath being, you know, the top of the magazine there, instead of being like that, where it was before, is a problem like that. Because that little pokey proddy part on the inside of the gun where the nozzle is, let's see if I can get it in the light. Come on. That part underneath there, you can't really see it because it broke off. Why did it break off? Well, when it's like that, where it's not all the way up to the top, what happens is that the nozzle will come forward and it just rams against the BB because it can't be ejected due to the fact that it's not sitting up high enough like it currently is. Because see, now I can just whoop, plop that out. But if it's just a little bit lower than it should be, kind of like that, let's see, like down there, maybe at that level, which is where it was, because this thing doesn't provide enough tension unless I have it really wound up, because it's kind of a cheap POS, right? So the issue was that part, the pokey proddy part that goes through the magazine to load your BB up into the hop-up chamber, just went against it. Well, eventually it's like either the BB or that little part has to give. Eventually the part gave. So now this is what happens when I try to use my Desert Eagle. This is epic disappointment. Notice that. That is not good. So it just causes jams now. So now I have to wait for a new nozzle, or a couple of new nozzles from overseas, because of course they can't be available in the US right now. That would be my luck. Now, I don't fault the gun or the nozzle in and of itself. I really don't. I think it was the fault of my own stupid little creation here and not having the tension to push the BB up to this level. Instead, it was just sunk below it, where it was more like that. And then that's what causes it to just ram up against it, because it can't force its way out of the front here like it can in this, you know, shot. But instead, if it's like sunk into maybe that level or even lower like that, that part would just ram up against the BB, cause an indent in the BB, and eventually it snapped off that part of the nozzle. So again, the solution is I'm going to make sure that I wind this up more as I'm using it. It's kind of a no-brainer. And then on top of that, I'm switching this out with a Tokyo Marui VZ61 drum mag. So that should work better. I have the Tokyo Marui version in my Mark 23 homemade drum mag that looks just like this, and it works wonders. So hopefully that fixes it. Now, let's talk about the gun a little more. So the accuracy was a little lackluster, but the range is going to be there. I believe that this is a gun capable of shooting probably 50 yards if the hop-up is properly dialed in out of the box. It's just not going to be accurate. Or for those of you who may be watching this from other places that don't use bald eagle measurements, it could probably hit 40 meters at least, if not maybe even further. But anyways, it's a pretty solid gun. My biggest complaints is gas consumption And I mean, obviously this is the Chad Desert Eagle, not like your Virgin High Kappa or Glock. So gas consumption kind of sucks, and the FPS is a double-edged sword depending on how you take it. I like it. I think it's great that it's that powerful, but it's not too powerful that it won't be able to get into outdoor fields. Externals are amazing, and there's another part I want to showcase about this thing in a bit here, which is the takedown of the gun, which is extremely convenient in my opinion. Also, the hop-up isn't too horrible to adjust, for those of you that do not know. Boy, this is kind of an awkward angle. Right there, it's a little Allen head screw. That's how you adjust your hop-up. Righty-tighty for more, lefty-loosey for less. Easy peasy, right? They do not include an Allen wrench in the box, which kind of sucks, but whatever. I mean, they're kind of just expecting you to have some, so if you don't have any, then make sure you go get some so you can adjust your hop-up. And then the other thing that I'm not like the biggest fan of, I guess, is that if you're going to use this like a sidearm, it's really heavy. I mean, this is pretty close to the weight of a real Desert Eagle, especially with a magazine in. Like, it's not too far off. Like, it's not all there, but it's close. So the hulky bulky size and the weight is going to cause it to be kind of a pain in the butt to be holstered alongside of you. So just be careful about that. Otherwise, I can't really knock it. This is something where I can honestly say, if you're looking for a decent sidearm that'll stand out on the field, this will work. This really will work. I mean, it's not going to be the best, but it won't be the worst. I've seen worse sidearms out there. And quite frankly, you know, one thing that could help with gas efficiency is to switch over to the CO2 mags. Maybe even switching to red gas, but I don't know if I'd recommend that. And honestly, I think other than the hiccup I had with the nozzle, it seems like they kind of fixed the nozzle reliability issue that I heard about when these things first came out a few years ago. So it should work just fine. Maybe stock up on some nozzles just in case, like I'm going to. I just gotta pray to God that they make it from overseas. These sites are taking so long to process my orders. One of them I made a week ago and it's still stuck in processing hell. But otherwise, honestly, I don't think it's just a gimmick. If I had to rate this handgun, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10, just only knocking it for lack of accuracy, gas consumption being terrible, and being a little bit impractical to holster on your side. That's about it. Otherwise, takedown's great, externals are great, kick is great, slide is super smooth, controls are tight, and on top of that, it's got some good power and great range. If you want to, you know, upgrade the accuracy and even the range further, I would suggest maybe an aftermarket inner barrel that extends to the end, and that would probably be about 140 millimeters, so maybe like 140 millimeter Maple Leaf Crazy Jet, PDI, Prometheus barrel. I think Lambda makes gas blowback barrels. All those would be good. It's a matter of preference at that point. And then a Maple Leaf bucking, which I already went ahead and installed. If you can kind of see that bluishness to it, it's a Maple Leaf one. It was drop-in, didn't even need any modifications. Other buckings of your choice may work just fine. So just kind of, you know, keep that in the back of your head. So yeah, unfortunately, this is one of those guns where it's like, oh, if you really want to be good, you gotta stick an old barrel of bucking in there, and then it's great. I know there's other gas blowback sidearms and even gas blowback pistols that can make pseudo primaries that are better than this out of the box, but this isn't too bad. I was a little disappointed in the accuracy, but I was very satisfied by the range and the power that WeTech gave this thing straight out of the box. So take a look at this Desert Eagle online. I picked it up for about $200 from e-bike. Make sure that this is going to be a handgun for you, and take into consideration that it's an absolute giant before just clicking and buying it. And with that said, guys, as always, happy airsofting.